appreciate everything that we have around us, right? Organizations have digged deep into their resources to understand what is important and what is not. Gone are the days of spending on systems and infrastructure that was only good to have. Every penny counts, and every resource in the organization is being scrutinized by business leaders and business models challenged. So indeed, in these unprecedented times, to do more with less is the new norm, and technology continues to play a huge part to support new business models. And hence the topic of discussion that we have today is tapping opportunities using technology to do more with less. And so, without much ado, let me introduce you to our highly distinguished and experienced panelists that we have. To start with, we've got Amrish Kumar, MD Ritu Kumar, a second-generation entrepreneur. Amrish Kumar joined the company in 2006. He launched a brand, new women's fashion brand, labeled by Ritu Kumar, an apparel and accessories line for the young Indian women. Within 10 years of the launch, the Pret brand now boasts of 50 plus crores in revenue and has over 30 standalone stores all across India. We also have Manoj Patel, who is a technocrat with proven track record of delivering value to organizations by effective IT planning and leading new initiatives, projects during the career span of over the 19 years. He's a result-oriented technology leader and manages complex IT solutions designs, including cloud-based applications. Also with us, we have Shishir Gupta, head Omnichannel, Arvind Fashions. Shishir steers the digital charter of international brands such as US Polo Assn, Gap, Sephora, and Aeropostale. He has worked with reputed retailers like Shoppers Stop, Metro Cash and Carry, managing progressive business units. He has also consulted many international retailers and consumer packaged good companies on digital transformation, omnichannel, direct-to-consumer, and e-commerce projects. And last but not the least, we've got Rajeev Soni, CRO at Netcore. Rajeev is a seasoned growth leader with over 25 years of multi-geo experience in general management, supervisory board, global enterprise sales, strategic alliances, and program management in IT industry. He has a track record in growing and building successful companies in technology solutions and services through cohesive and high-performance teams, good strategy, and solid execution. Welcome all the panelists on board, and I look forward to having a very interesting discussion with all of you all. I'm going to head directly into the topic, and to start with, I'll request views from Manoj and Shishir on a very important topic, which is new technologies that are changing the dynamics of business models, which have come up in the last few months. So if you could throw some light in terms of what your company has been doing during these times, that would be quite helpful. Manoj, do you want to start?
Yeah, first I would like to thank Rai. Thanks Kunal for giving information about myself. So as a company, during this COVID time, where everything has been in the lockdown, so on the technology front, Omnichannel has helped us a lot. Where the customers, we had our Omnichannel ready with us, which has helped us, taking the business much more ahead. And as the media is not there, so for sending this, we have used the social media as a channel, to reach to the customer, telling when are the stores opening, what are the precautions we have taken in the stores. Then we have used WhatsApp as a channel where we interact with the known customers, telling them about these stores, what is opening, what are the new product lineups we are coming with. And we're also giving offering of products. We are sending them to the product images and giving a payment link. So giving much more comfort level to the customers so that they can, they can buy basically sitting at home. So it works for the customer who already purchased from us. So they know their size and everything. They know the pattern. So they have to just click it and just take it. So social media is one thing which we helped us. WhatsApp, which we are using it. And that's where we are in current business.
Lovely. Shishir, how have things been? At Arvind, you also have a lot of stores.
Yeah.
You also believe in, getting customers to your stores and selling your products. But in these unprecedented times, how have things changed? For the business overall.
Yeah, sure, Kunal. See, I think it's a challenging time for any brand or a retailer. I mean, because at more than 70% business comes from the physical stores, which would be EBOs, MBOs, or department stores. And when they are deprived of the walk-ins, then you can understand that we are not able to connect to the customers. So I think connecting to the customers is I think the key priority for any brand or a retailer right now. With respect to technologies, I think, Kunal, more than I would say new technologies, I think there are technologies which are already there but now are experiencing a time travel. So probably in terms of adoption, so if we could have imagined that these technologies are probably have 1% or a 2% adoption right now, probably when we exit this year they will be at 15 to 20% adoption. So that time travel of 10 to 15 years is something which the situation has enabled. A few ones that I can kind of talk about is, one is unified commerce. That means connecting all your entire ecosystem of inventory, of information in one place, and exposing it to your .com, to dropship, basically your own website, or to the marketplaces where you can sell. So leveraging everything which is there inside your stores, inside your ecosystem, it's at your warehouses to sell the products. The second technology that we believe, I think is going to or has started working, is the one view of the customer, which is to enable scale and adoption of O2O, or offline to online. That's what we've been seeing. And the third bit is digital selling. Now digital selling now has many avatars. One avatar is this conversational commerce, which is connecting customers through WhatsApp CRM with automated bots. And then there are store staff who are now behaving as a consultative sellers. We're trying to understand. So basically, trying to replicate whatever they're doing inside the store now digitally. Then the other thing is the entire shop the store journey, which is telling the customers what is closer to basically they can enter a store virtually, so they know what. For example, there's a store at Indira Nagar, and I can just log in to the website and see what stock is available there, what are the offers, what are the mode of deliveries that that a customers can get. So I think these are the few technologies which I believe are not new, but they have seen time travel, and it's exciting for everybody in this domain. They are
What I also
learning.
realize is, a lot of functions which were working in silos previously, having their own agendas. I think that's also kind of, changed. You find people speaking to each other more, working towards, a singular goal, because again, business models have changed. First, the ones running the stores thought they were the superstars. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of dependency on e-commerce, on, how the warehouse is managed and things like that. So I think functions have also started appreciating each other more and started working with each other more.
I think you just nailed it, because see, digital is 50% digital, and rest 50% is people.
Yeah.
And it cannot be achieved through large cross functional collaborations. And I think you just nailed it by saying that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if I have to move on, to the next part of it, but while we do this, we also have Amrish over here. Amrish, do you have any views in terms of how you guys have managed, with certain amount of technology coming in? You've got very varied set of brands, right? And what is your take in terms of how the business models have changed or how the functions have changed?
As far as new technologies are concerned, I agree with the earlier speakers. We're not talking about new technologies. These have been around. There is a advent of adoption that is sped up.
Yeah.
So I think that's fairly universal across all brands and across other people. As far as the business models are concerned, those will change. I remember I gave one of these webinars early in the lockdown, and it was on a slightly different topic. It was about retail itself, offline retail. And even then, I was saying that this is going to accelerate the structural dissonance between old traditional models of traditional business models and the new ones. The cost structures of physical retail, online retail are going to go through a significant change. Where that's going to end up is just anyone's guess. But certainly there is going to be a shift away from the high cost structures offline. And then people are going to also start understanding that online, the cost structures are also quite high actually, because there's a very significant amount of sales happen online tend to be liquidation sales. Now, to be sustainable retailers, you have to build out margins, which online is going to be a bit more of a challenge to do. So anyway, just looking forward, those are the challenges that we're going to have to look at.
Yeah, I think it's similar to most of the retailers. Even we at initially were a little perplexed about how the business will run and how will things change. But I think people did over a period of time understand that you need to start digging in deep and understand the resources available, the systems available that you already have, the kind of technology spends that you've already done, and how do you try and maximize those IT spends and then relook at doing things in a much better fashion. So on that note, actually, Amrish, you are an entrepreneur that we have over here on this panel, and my question is directly to you, saying, doing more is less, right? With less is the new norm for every businesses. Getting maximum impact from reduced technology spends, getting maximum impact from the costs that you've been spending on. How has your outlook changed, over the last 6 months in terms of how did you see certain costs before and how are you seeing things now?
Well, I think we are currently going through a abnormal state. And we are all looking, we're all hypothecating as to when the normal state will resume. And normal state will look a little different, as I just mentioned. But there will be a difference between how we behave now and how we behave when markets get back to some kind of normalcy. So obviously the current mandate is obviously going to be on conserving cash, cutting down on any discretionary spend, and so on and so forth. So things like marketing take a bit of a hit, new hires and so on and so forth. No difference from other businesses. But when we start coming out of it, all those things will have to get ramped up again, because then we're again starting to compete with other brands. We're starting to require, garnering market share and stuff like that. So with respect to your question about costs, I think for the moment, everyone is looking at every line item to see what is absolutely essential. But over a period of time, when things get back to normal, those will change, and the mandate will change from bare essentials to sort of optimization and forward-looking profitability. So to answer your question, things are going to look different 3 months from now.
Right. So any specific surprises that during this period that you came across, which was probably considered a normal way of life, but all of a sudden, with all of this happening around you, a certain spend that you had or a certain way of business, a way of working that completely kind of shook you guys and said, maybe we need to look at things differently?
Yes and no. I think if you were given a scenario like this, a textbook scenario, where demand would fall out, you would predict pretty much what has happened. Of course, the adoption of sales online, you would also predict would accelerate if you're not able to go to shops, etc., which is what has happened. So in a sense, if you were given this in a scenario, the things you would predict, and they've been close to coming to fruition. The only X factor, the only unknown for us was how long these things would last, and thereby how deep the impact of it would be. So that's what I think everybody is working through at the moment. The longer it lasts, the more people are going to go online, and so on and so forth. So that is happening. Yeah. So broadly, that's the trends that we are seeing currently.
Manoj, you guys have a similar business, and again, being the technology guy, um, you have a certain budget in mind for the entire year, right? And you're still working towards next year's budgets.
True.
And then March happens, and COVID happens, and everything goes for a complete toss. What's your take on this particular issue that you had?
Yeah, as you rightly said, IT budget is totally gone toss. And as what Amrish said, so now focus is totally on essentials. So whatever your base requirement is, which is a need of the business, yes, it is invested there. But for all the new projects and everything, it's kept on hold if it's not essential for the business as of right now. And yes, most of the thing is IT. It's a more of an expense, and IT is always considered an expense. So we are now concentrating more on the OPEX model. Each and everything, whatever you require, if you require any server or if you require any space or any kind of new requirement is there that is getting evaluated and now twice whether it's going to help, or we are checking on any new requirement, any ROI is coming. If that ROI is satisfying the need, yes, then that particular amount is getting invested. Otherwise, most of the thing which we start at the start of the year that you would like to do the certain things or certain project in that particular year, now that has got a pause. The concentration and the focus is more on the essentials, and that's what we evaluate it, and then we take it ahead looking at the ROI.
Right. So, any specific spendings that you had, which completely changed in terms of the kind of technologies that you're investing in now compared to what you were doing previously? Whether it's ERPs or it's a cloud platform.
ERP is much more stable. Yes, we were looking in terms of changing our point of sale system, which is a regular bread and butter.
Yes.
So that particular project has came on completely still and stopped. And also in ERP, some enhancement if you are going to take.
Yeah.
So if business is continuing, so that is also got on hold as of now.
Yeah.
That's what.
Rajeev, you're a technology partner, right? And during these times, I'm sure a lot of retailers have reached out to you to enable them. And with your wide set of products and services that you have, I'm sure the kind of discussions that you had with different retailers 6 months back or a year back are very, very from now, right? And they're more forthcoming in terms of the kind of services they want, more forthcoming to the service providers in terms of what they have to offer. So it'd be wonderful to understand, what Netcore has been doing in this space during these times.
Sure. So first of all, thank you, Kunal, for a very generous introduction. I think saying that 27 years also makes me accept that I've been part of this phrase appearing in the business world, that more with less, more for less, more is less, more from less. I've seen that last 4 or 5 occasions. Every time the businesses have kind of contemplated a gloominess in the economy, the discretionary has gone down. I think businesses have started bringing those terms and phrases on the front desk. For us as a technology company, we live every day serving our customer more with less. I haven't come across a single meeting with the entrepreneur or with CEO or with the CMO where the conversations are not about how will you help me solve my business challenge, how will you help me achieve my KPIs, how will you help me be ahead of my competition. I think the underlying message is that whether the economy is in the prosperity, you are investing to gain efficiency. If the economy is in a gloomy state, you are investing to improve the productivity, and that's not going to go away. The good thing is that every time this phase has come, the technology has come out to be even much more stronger as a percentage of investment from the brands. And we are seeing that trend accelerating at a very, very fast speed. I think the last 4 months have been very dissimilar to the last 4 occasions of gloominess we have seen, whether that gloominess was that only late 90s dot-com boom, or whether that was 9/11 attack, or whether that was Lehman crash, and more the pandemic. I think this one has caught businesses and the mankind in an unknown territory. There is no playbook how to deal with it. And and when you don't know how to deal with it, you actually start putting your investment in the best bet areas. And that's what we see our customers doing. So that typically, as Netcore, we engage with 3 generations of brands. There are brands who are digitally born, the companies who started their business model with web first or app first. And some of the examples are Swiggy, Nike, Flipkart, NetMed, PhonePe, LimeRoad. I think these companies have accelerated their investment in the area of how do I identify my best customers and how do I build my funnel for the next best customers using the technology. And Netcore does provide that technology to solve these complex challenges because they're all solvable through the understanding of data and modeling that data and making the output understandable to the businesses and to the marketeers, not the technologies alone. While we respect that, we do engage with technology team too. But what matters is that are you able to explain it in a way that it becomes a solution than a technology statement. The second kind of generation that we serve is the product economy, which is very rapidly adopting the digital, and they are accelerating. The last 4 months, we have seen a massive acceleration in their adoption towards technology. So, for example, banks do not know how to let their senior citizen customers or their retail customers open up a fixed deposit. They do not know, how to engage with customers to cross-sell products other than phone bankers. So for them to quickly reach out to their customers to the digital channels was paramount. So we have seen even some of the investment which was earlier planned for, doing some banglers, for example, in a branch got shifted towards how do I accelerate my digital outreach. So we've seen that the banks, for example, they were doing certain amount of, promotional campaigns in a quarter have consumed the same amount of volume in a month. That's the sense of urgency, and that's the sense of, purpose. They saw that how fast they should go and reach their customers and educate them. And this is not just the one use case. There were the use cases that I want to inform my customers from a services perspective that my branches are going to be closed. So how do you engage with me? How do you reach out to me? And how do I can solve your problems using digital? So that's the second piece. And, there are more like insurance, there are capital market traders, there are, insurance. So we've seen a very rapid acceleration of digital adoption from channels to marketing automation, to even to a certain extent, using the opportunity to personalize the products for their visitors, because now the only way the customers are approaching you, is through your website and is through your mobile app. The third thing, which I personally believe, and we have in fact have also experienced, so it's powered by data, is a rapid and a very, very sense of panic-driven transformation opportunity, which is, by the way, about 70% of the Indian economy. And they have a sense of urgency now to get their presence on the web, get their presence on the e-commerce world. I think Netcore, again, provides a very comprehensive proposition to the brands who have lived their life and thrived their life in the offline or the store format, how they can quickly get onto the online world, have grown their visitor base, have grown their visitor accounts, and then start engaging and start converting those visitors into buyers. And there are multiple technologies like Manoj mentioned, Shishir mentioned. I think those technologies from the WhatsApp, conversational AI, marketing automation has been on the forefront, but over the last 4 months has become a panic demand. Make it happen in 48 hours. What you do in 24 hours, do it in 12 hours. So that's the kind of sense of urgency we've seen. So I think we will continue to see this kind of an urgency specifically in the third leg of the customers that we are dealing with, which happen to be 70 to 75% of our economy, are popularly known as O2O or OCO. We are very excited. We believe we are in a sweet spot, and
what's going to be also important is, to help these customers understand what do they really need. Brands or retailers will just try to jump onto the bandwagon and try and replicate what others are doing without really understanding what is their end post, right? So it's also going to be very important for technology players to explain the customer what they really need. I've seen a lot of retailers just probably trying to replicate the other business model of what someone else is doing. And then it just falls flat on their face because that's not what your organization Etho is, or that's not how your organization has been built, right? So every organization is different. The ways of working are different. And I think that someone is trying to implement a certain technology or a certain business model. Shishir, do you have any views on that one?
You're on mute.
Yeah, I think, it's one of those things that you have to say, I'm on mute. Yeah, so I completely, kind of agree is that, there is, there's going to be a lot of consultative selling rather than, very, hard selling that needs to happen. Everybody's requirement is very different and very unique. And, one size fits all will not help. So, rather than just, and that's what's happening as well, Kunal, that, you see somebody doing an activity or an adoption, and you believe that probably this is the next big thing, or this is what the customer may expect as an hygiene. But in fact, what everything has to be seen as from an ROI angle, very, very strategically. So unless we believe that it's going to do a very long-term, high-level impact, I think it should be. That's how every priority should be driven.
So on that note, that we need to have around, which is how technology is opening up opportunities for omnichannel engagement and sales. We've been talking about this for a very long time. As retailers, we've had multiple discussions around it. But this has really been the time when businesses have actually started, looking at this in a very serious fashion. Amrish, you have very brands, right? A very high-end fashion brand, then you've got label. What are your thoughts on the omnichannel strategy? What mechanisms are you using as a business to, for customer engagement across all platforms? Tying up with online players, your own website, mobile apps, relook at how you're generating sales from different mediums.
Well, I mean, omnichannel at the moment largely serves the purpose of having variegated stock units. So what you're able to do is have a pool of stock that's accessible across your various different channels of sale. Specifically now, it really is the online channel of sale that is able to tap into stock of various other shops. And that's extremely useful. So as soon as we go live with that, we tend to see as soon as we bring a new stock point on, we tend to see a significant 5 to 10% delta because stock suddenly becomes available again.
Right.
But that's what it currently is. It is really better stock management. With respect to customer engagement, not so much that right now. Right now, it's more a service level kind of asset to have.
But is there a roadmap that you have in mind, kind of, take it to the next level?
Well, you see, omnichannel to me eventually becomes a tool at the back end more than the front end.
Yeah.
Front end, if you start talking about customer experience, etc., that's a whole different ball game. That you've got to go back to the fundamentals of selling and try and replicate the same philosophies and the same qualities in customer experiences on all your touch points. So offline, for example, we have stores where we have highly trained staff, where we have the VM that we believe tells a story. I mean, obviously different ones for different brands.
Right.
We have a sort of atmosphere, we have a scent and all that sort of stuff. So now how do you replicate a similar customer experience online? And that then comes into your own website. As far as marketplaces are concerned, there it's a question of the levers that you have accessible to you there, which are things like, how much marketing you put into marketplaces, what your product structures are, and so on and so forth. So the place where really your customer experience you have control over is your shops, your website, and the only new other place is your direct engagement with customers, which was alluded to vis-a-vis whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's your mobile app, and those are your 3 touch points to customers. Now, the things that one can do and one has to start looking at is investing in the customer experience on your own website, which includes many things such as better photographs, better stories that you're telling on your own website, how the customer, so for us, for example, which will be different from a men's formal brand. So for us, we are trying to sell a customer the idea of a story, which is the collection that we've got. How you pair this up with that, why it should be that, why it's in trend now, why you should be wearing it, why you should be going out in it, and so on and so forth. So you've got to be able to dictate that story through your other channels. So those are the kinds of things that we need to now look at.
Rajeev, you've been working with different retailers, and what's your view on the whole customer engagement, and what are you doing to resolve understand the customer issues and of the entire sales across various platforms, etc. So
yeah. I think this is one of an unprecedented time, which has opened up a brand new set of opportunity. And I just want to add a context to the previous narrative that I said. Absolutely, no matter whether you are with the more with less or more with more, the buyers will buy when they see a trust in you. The buyers will buy when they see that you are consultative and not here to take a quick purchase order. So that's the DNA of the Netcore, and we are very proud of that. I think, from a retail perspective, we believe one of the most impactful change that we have seen over the last 4 months and at large, and we believe that this also is going to sustain, is the personalized experience or the personalized commerce. What Rajeev would like to see when he is visiting Arvind Lifestyle matters to me more now than ever before. And there are technologies available to make it one-on-one. And I think that's the one technology that Netcore introduced later in December. We thought that it will gradually get into the adoption zone. So we were very surprised the kind of adoption we have seen, and specifically from the private label brands, from the retailers, from the offline brands over the last 4 months. Just to give you the context, the traffic for the personalization, the recommendation that we used to send at the start of the pandemic, and I'm counting 20th of March at the start of the pandemic, the recommendation traffic has gone about 80 times more. So the brands are really looking forward to that. On hindsight, this is an opportunity for a brand to innovate. While your traffic is really not in your control because the buyers have disappeared, your web traffic has come down. So where do you invest your time and energy? I think the smarter brands have leveraged this to build for the future, to do those innovation at a faster track, which they thought that they wanted to do at some point in time in their customer experience. And we have been working very, very closely with some of the powerful brands, and I picked some names with their permission. There are hundreds of them for which we do not have permission to take their names. But I would suggest that for retailers, the one-on-one personalization powered by meaningful use cases of artificial intelligence is the opportunity until we see the normal returning.
But do you see a lot of, these are some of the technologies which have, again, been there for quite some time in the market, right? But do you see retailers really understanding the power of these technologies? Do they really have that kind of a data to really put it in the system and then consume it and then reuse it to kind of improve their businesses?
Yeah. So, and a very good question. I think I should mention this, that Netcore does have a business unit which helps brands to get to the online journey. So we have a division which helps brands to get the first party data, get the traffic to the website, and do that using the power of technology and using the power of machine learning and getting the right data. I think that's the start point for any offline to online brand transformation. Then it's a game of engagement and a game of retention. We have experienced that the wisdom is incredible, and we work with many markets, but we believe that the wisdom in India CMOs is incredibly powerful. The kind of questions we see, and to be honest with you, there are some brands who want to build this technology in-house. And they have competency, they have the skills, and they have a group of data scientists who are very capable to build that. What we have seen is that the retailers have taken a different approach to do the A/B testing. Why don't I check what I can build and how powerful is that versus what I can get from the market? I think with that kind of an openness and with that kind of a wisdom and with that kind of focus towards customer experience, end of the day, it's all about what my customer is going to get as an experience. And why not put both options on the same platform and see which one performs best. That's one clear trend we have seen, that retailer adapting to accelerating their customer experience or preparing for the future for the superior customer experience. For sure, they are very clear that online is not going to take a U-turn ever.
Yeah.
It may come to some certain degree of flatness. It may, come to a certain degree of degrowth, but may flattens, may see more recoveries. Who knows? But clearly, online selling is here to stay, and if anything, this pandemic has accelerated that change.
So, Manoj, I'm going to ask you the same question, but before that, since Rajeev mentioned about the platform, Shishir, I'm going to throw you a little off guard and ask you. Already have Arvind Internet. You've got a subsidiary within your organization, a sister concern. How do you engage with them, and what kind of technologies have you guys been using more often now these days, from the value set of products that you have, and how has that changed?
So, yes, it's great to have it's great to have, like technology within a group technology firm within a group company. But I think the most essential bit has been is that there has been, basically it's a vendor and client relationship between us. So while we co-create, but we also, challenge each other, we push each other. I think that's really helpful. Plus, as basically they have more than 25 brands with them, so their learning curve is also steep. So there's a lot of cross learning that happens. In terms of
those conversations and understand what kind of discussions happen there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the conversations have evolved a lot. Previously, it was all about one view of inventory, and now it is more about a one view of customer, which is, which kind of, addresses or, touches upon what Amrish just mentioned. How do I create that drama, the same theater, same drama on the website? And I think those are the conversations that have started happening. Building, for example, if Kunal is visiting our website, are we showing things to Kunal which he likes or which is most probable to buy?
Yeah.
Or are we creating the the right content around our products, our merchandise? I think these are the conversations that have started happening. And we believe that the next level of omnichannel, the next stage of omnichannel is going to be optimizing, moving away, which also, again, I'll just touch upon what Amrish just mentioned, that it's a liquidation channel. How do we start building more profitable business through online?
Yeah.
Which is having a fair bottom line, and selling more of a full price merchandise or a new season merchandise. Though online is very season agnostic, but how do we start building that drama on the website? And these are the conversations that have started happening. There are a few pilots that we are doing together to to quickly start scaling up and optimizing our markdowns, optimizing our what marketing spends, reducing our acquisition costs. So that's where it is right now. And I think it's an exciting next phase that we have entered.
Manoj, you and I, share the same problems, right? Managing the IT, working with an offline retailer, similar challenges in terms of, going back to the business and recommending, technologies and solutions and trying to get the CapEx approved or the OpEx approved.
Yes.
What's how have things changed for you in the recent times with all of this? How is the business responding in terms of the technology solution that you bring in for short-term engagement, for the long-term engagement? How has that changed for your brands?
Yeah, as you rightly said, getting this approvals, everything is very, it's very tough to get over there. But now, we are saying that everybody now requires omnichannel, and now the complete focus of the company is also there on the omnichannel. So as Shishir and Amrish said earlier, the look and the feel of the product, the store ambience is being bought on the screen right now.
Yeah.
To give the customer that particular feel. Okay, what is the product, and then but the product are put in such a way that the customer feels okay, how the look and fit will be there on themselves, and making much more interactive, those screens making much more interactive for the customer, so that the customer, those who are existing customer, for them it becomes much more easy. They know their size and they have to just click it and they have to buy it. So giving that customer experience on the omnichannel is very important. And there are certain customers who want just 3 clicks and they want to go out by paying up. If you see in the current scenario, the omni-channel has become the need of the hour, because if you see the person, those who were not using mobile, now they started engaging on the mobile. They started buying online because of the lockdown. People were not able to go out. So now they started using more of a technology. Previously, it was like roti, kapda and makan. Now it's become roti, makan and internet, basically. Everybody requires internet to buy anything. So omnichannel has helped a lot. People are buying their products because the stores are closed and your basic essentials are required. So they buy it on the online. And that's where the companies also now focus on it. So on the project front, which you were saying on the budgeting part of it, yes, the investment is going on more on the omnichannel as of now.
Yeah. I'm sure you have more say now in the business than you ever had before.
Yeah.
And probably even the people who didn't know you, if at all,
yes,
definitely know you now.
Yeah, that's what we were on the back front. Now we have come in the front.
Absolutely.
Like any issues and everything, whatever is happening.
Yeah.
So now it's more focus. IT has become a more focus area right now.
Yeah. So that brings me to the next question of, re-engineering the entire backend systems that you have with technology. Shishir, do you want to go first on this one in terms of, where you were before and where you are now in the last 3 months? If I just have to take the last 3 to 4 months, where were you standing before the last 3 to 4 months, post-March, pre-March, and post-March?
So, three things that has actually happened in terms of ensuring, when I look at the supply side. Now, supply side, the first bit that remains is having more and more inventory exposure. That means, the entire inventory in the ecosystem, is it available at the stores or stores or the warehouses that we have converted into a fulfillment center. So increasing that speed of, bringing back the stocks or pulling back the stocks. And I think that's where we have now started implementing technology, or at least started changing the processes to reduce that lead time from 45 days to 20 days or 21 days. I think that's one big change that has happened. I think the second big change from the supply side is the content and the catalog creation. I think that's the first mile for anybody to go digital or to have an e-commerce operations. And if those images are not good, if the content is not good, if the tagging is not well, then the conversions won't happen, the click-throughs won't happen. So that's where again we have started engaging technology with technology. I think is a recent change that we have done is that we've invested in a couple of more tools, SaaS-based tools, where we are using technology to convert or enhance our content on the website. The third thing that remains, again from a supply point of view, is how we are how are we exposing ourselves, our inventories, to more and more storefronts, and these storefronts could be multiple. Since now we have one view of inventory, it's important to have multiple demand channels.
Yeah.
So quickly ramping up those integrations that we need to do with the marketplaces, or other websites where we need to sell our products, and more, and both, it's a dual exercise, which is selling our inventory to the other marketplaces, and partnering with other players to sell their inventory on our website. So these are two-way interactions that are happening. So at least from a supply side, we acknowledged, or we were, when we went into lockdown, we understood that business is going to scale up, and we need to build the right capabilities to ensure that we meet with that surge. Hopefully, we had some teething issues, but now we are faring really well. We overcome all these, all those initial problems, and it's faring well right now.
Amrish, I'm going to ask you a question off guard. Does your IT guy now get a seat to sit in meetings and put his thoughts forward, and are people more forthcoming to listening to him and working more closely with the other functions?
Well, we're structured a little bit differently. We've got our digital and IT are two different divisions for us.
Right.
And digital is essentially online sales. And this includes marketplace, includes our own website, etc. So yeah, they've always been in the center of all the discussions. We use IT as a slightly more sort of supportive function rather than a sales function.
Right.
Yeah.
Rajeev, coming back to you, as like we discussed previously, also organizations are discussing a lot of systems, etc. Do you see a lot of re-engineering happening, or a lot of investment happening?
I think both. I'll address one, re-engineering first, and the investment next. I think re-engineering is happening specifically in the offline to online world. The stores have customer data, but they don't know how to make a unified view of that customer when the same customer is visiting the web property, or the or the app, or even engaging with you on the micro-commerce channels like WhatsApp or Telegram and so on. I think that whole process of re-engineering your data lake approach into a CDP is a massive exercise. That requires a more participation and a more closer collaboration between the IT and the marketing teams. Data Lake was an IT project. Data Poodles were IT projects. So they were happening when the offline businesses were flourishing, and they are still flourishing, and they will continue to flourish. But when you need to create a bridge between offline and online, the CDP plays a very strategic role, and that requires a re-engineering. I think that is the one piece where we see that the investment will happen towards the re-engineering. The other side is the re-engineering towards other side is the investment towards the innovation. We have seen the massive interest over the last 4 months, and we believe that a lot of this interest is going to sustain, for many, many more months and quarters to come, where the investments are more towards how do I innovate, how do I differentiate, how do I make the maximum use of my data to improve my experiential commerce. And I'm only specifically targeting the online part for now, because that's what we really, as a Netcore, have specialized over the last 22 years. And this cannot be done by, a strategy which is based on 7 technology vendors. I think the one very clear trend that we are seeing, and that we believe that the investment of resources and an investment of thinking will happen, is to have more unification of the vendors. So, it's a reality that the pandemic has also thrown many startups out of their gear. They may have a great idea, they may have a fantastic set of people, but it's very, very hard for them to go and acquire customers. So in such a situation, we believe that the brands are focusing on the vendor consolidation as an investment area to drive more efficiency, and that too at a scale, and drive innovation at a speed of thought, and wherein the single vendor can provide them the channel and can provide them the own, and also an omni-channel platform. Both are different, by the way. There are vendors who provide just the specialization on the channel side, and then there are platforms for the omni-channel. So this is the one pocket where we are seeing, and the personalization, as I spoke earlier, we are seeing is how the brands are preparing for the future, and I think we see that trend very, very clearly sustaining.
Sure, thanks. We've got a lot of questions from the audience, and I'm going to start throwing some of these questions to you guys. Manoj, the first one, I'll put it across to you. Improving the shopping experience to the customer with the current technology tools. I'll add another question which is similar to that, which is around what is your take on personalization in the customer lifecycle to get the most of the CX and boost sales?
I think you have to unmute, Manoj.
I'm sorry.
We all have to say this once, at least once.
Thanks, Rajeev.
Absolutely.
See, customer experience is very crucial in this scenario. And earlier also, when we used to have a business in offline, also customer plays a very important role. So here, with the as I mentioned earlier, also with the customer, we do engagement with the existing technology, what we have invested, and that's what we are working on with. Like WhatsApp is there, we are using WhatsApp where the customers are there, we directly get in touch with them, and whatever they bought earlier, there's a CRM is there. With the CRM, we get the data and we try to fulfill their requirement, what they want. And we are using WhatsApp CX tool also, through which we whatever their requirements were, what their questions are there, we try to reply them. We satisfy them with their requirement, and that's where we go ahead with that.
Right. Amrish, there's a question for you. How do you see the government, really working post-COVID to really help the businesses to get back? So, is there anything happening around government aids? Are there any different discussions that you're having? Industry as as a fashion industry, as a textile industry.
I mean, this is a much bigger question than this than was promised from this panel.
It may require a full webinar.
I know. Yeah, look, there are things that are happening, but I'll try and keep it short. I don't think anything that specific to fashion industry is happening. It's just happening with respect to the size of the businesses. I think government's trying to increase the availability of liquidity, which is really the order of the day for most businesses in the SME sector. In fact, I think it's the order of the day for most businesses, period. Plus, they're doing certain structural reforms, which perhaps it's a little bit easier to do right now, given the crisis scenario that we have. But, it's a much larger question that then is merited by this.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. There's a question over here on how does a master franchisee leverage technologies to get sales through digital media? I'll probably take that because I think we've got a lot of franchisee stores. What we do is basically keep our technology open to all the franchisees. So whatever technology we bring in, it's always available to all our partners. And then, that's the essence of it, right? Our own stores are very limited. And so it's very important for us to take whatever experience that we're building, whatever technologies that we're building to all the partners. And that's the only way to grow and give the same customer experience across, right? So there's a model which has worked out internally, and technologies are free to join the bandwagon and use them, and we support them in all these technologies. So I hope that answers the question over there. Shishir, how will you increase the business in crisis situation? What kind of customer improvement technology tools are you using? So a lot of questions around customer experience and technology, and online methodology and tools that you have.
Okay. So let me break down this customer experience into two parts. The first bit is the on-site customer experience, and another is the post-order customer experience.
You have 1 minute to answer that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And the most important bit is the second one, which is the post-order customer experience, because everybody will take a little time to start mastering the first bit of engaging with the customer properly, but ensuring that they're we are the website is delivering orders on time. There is a proper way to address customer issues, customer problems. What are the innovations that could be done there? For example, next day delivery, same day delivery, on demand delivery. I think these are the innovations that should happen and need to happen. And there's plenty of technology aggregators around this who will be able to help in scaling this up.
Right. Rajeev, if I have to post you 2 questions and with a very brief answer, one is around what kind of tech tools which are available, what kind of gadgets that the customers can use, and what kind of experience are the retailers providing that's easy to implement in a shorter span. If you could answer that. And there's also a question around different communication methodologies, whether it's only mentioned SMS, but even if I have to take emails or WhatsApp, what are the most effective communication methodologies that are being being used currently?
Sure. So the first one was and I don't know if this can really be answered in less than 2 minutes, but I'll try and make an attempt. So first one is that the easy option for a retailer, depending on the size, is get to the WhatsApp and adapt to the micro-commerce. Netcore has implemented it for some of the most classy brands which are in the mid space, but that has started yielding the ROI from the day they've gone live. So you can do everything as Manoj mentioned. They're doing it for Anita Dongre brand. I think being the most preferred partner for Facebook, we absolutely promote that. I think other than that, there are so depending on what stage of your customer life cycle value you are in, there are spectrum of tools which are available. Early stage could be in SMS, could be on WhatsApp, could be on outbound voice and the traditional channels. As you get onto the online, then you have channels of the likes of web messaging, browser push notifications, and then also helping brands to helping visitors to convert them from a visitor to a buyer. So the whole data science engineering behind that helps customer journey which ultimately translates brands to convert them into a buyer. I think that's a marketing automation stack, which is one of the very hot area of investment. Personalization I've already spoken about, so I'm not going to elaborate further on that. Then I think on the specifically on channel side, one thing which we have not touched is email. And there are reports being written all over the world. The amount of open rate, the amount of click-through, the amount of inboxing has become the game changer for the online world. I think being the pioneer in the email marketing as a brand Netcore, we have also seen traction. So just to give you an example, one of India's most significant e-commerce brand, they used to do about 100 million emails a week. They've kind of turned into 1 billion emails a week now. So,
I'm going to cut you short.
Yeah, I'm covered.
One-liner from each of you all, future of retail, in about 15 seconds each. Amrish, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the future of retail will change like it always has done. We'll see more of it going online, but the essence of selling to customers and your value proposition doesn't change.
Lovely. Shishir?
Future of retail is on the path of redefinition, so I'll keep it short.
Amazing. Manoj?
Future retail, future is always there. It will be more focused on the technology and the customer experiences.
All right. On that note, it's been an engaging session. Thank you all for being very upfront and honest on your views. It's been, I'm sure the audience has enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed moderating this session. Thank you all for taking time out. And most importantly, thank you, RAI, for having us all for this. And on that note, we close the session. And I wish all of you all a lot of safety and to take care.
Thank you.
See each other.
Thank you, Kunal.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Raju.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amrish.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Rai.
you, Shishir. Thank you, Rai.